if you guys clicked on this video, you're probably trying to get into high ticket sales, find out a little bit more about it, find out if it's legit or if it's just another online scam. So what I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna be going over the most asked questions that people have about high ticket sales. I posted a little questionnaire on my Instagram and I got you guys to ask me a bunch of questions. So I'm gonna be going over the most asked ones, and my whole goal of this video is just to help you guys try to see if this is something that would work for you. And I'm gonna be answering all these questions truthfully, not like these gurus who say that they make $100,000 a month just from closing deals. Now, if you don't know who I am, my name is Raiden. I'm 20 years old, and literally less than a year ago, I was working at a car dealership making anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000 a month, and I absolutely hated it. I always wanted to do something online, so I had the time freedom and the location freedom, but nothing worked for me. I tried drop shipping, I tried trading, I tried reselling. Like, if you guys can think of a business model, I probably tried it, and nothing worked until I found high ticket sales. Fast forward to now, I'm making anywhere from $30,000 to $35,000 a month. I'm able to travel, I'm able to do what I want, when I want, because I found high ticket sales. I've been in this space for a while now. I've helped multiple people get into high ticket sales, and I've placed multiple people on offers. So I have a pretty good idea of the space. So that being said, let's get into the first question. All right. First question, what is high ticket sales? So high ticket sales is selling products that cost $3,000 or more on behalf of a creator or influencer or business owner. So think of, Tai Lopez or Tony Robbins or TJR, Bread Scales. Like, all of these guys have a program or a course where they teach people to do a certain skill. Now, these guys obviously don't have the time to take all these calls with all these students. So what they do is they hire commission-based reps, so setters and closers. Your job is to handle warm leads, answer objections, collect payment, and get paid a commission. And no, they're not cold calls, they're all warm inbound leads. You're literally helping someone who already wants to buy the product just make the final decision. Question number 2, do you need experience? All right, so short answer, no, you don't need experience. If anything, if there was a tier list on what you do need to get into high ticket sales, experience would probably be closer to the bottom. However, what you do need is you need to be able to talk to people. You need to be able to articulate your words and have a clear conversation with people. You need to be coachable, and you need to just be able to listen to what's being told to you. Literally what I did to excel as fast as I did is I looked at the people who were above me that were making the money that I wanted to make or that were making more than me, and I copied exactly what they did. So if you're well-spoken, you can have a strong conversation, then this business model is probably something that will work for you. Question number 3, how much can you really make, and is making 10K in your first month realistic? Honestly, no. I mean, you're probably not gonna make $10,000 in your first month. I have seen people do it, but that being said, most people that get into high ticket sales, you'll make anywhere from $1,000 to $4,500 in your first month. Most reps that I've seen come into high ticket sales, that's what they've made. They've made anywhere from $2,500 to $4,500 a month, and it allowed them to, quit their job, pay for their bills, or whatever it may be. So anyone promising you that you're gonna make 10K guaranteed in your first month is probably lying to you. All right, question number 4, do you have to be good at talking? So I feel like this one goes without being said. Obviously, you do have to be well-spoken if you're selling something and if you're doing sales. That being said though, it is a skill that is pretty easy to learn as long as you just put in the work. I haven't always been really well-spoken. I used to be super nervous when it came to talking to new people and trying to hold a strong conversation. But some of the things that you can do to hold a good conversation is you can read books and read them out loud, practice just like having conversations with strangers, and honestly just practice having normal conversations, because being well-spoken is obviously super important in this business model. However, it is also super important in life. So even if you don't do high ticket sales, I suggest that you try your best to get good at talking. Question number 5, how old do you have to be to start? So you can pretty much start at whatever age that you want. I've seen people start at 15 years old. They've done DM setting, phone setting, or even closing, and you can make a pretty good amount no matter how old you are. That being said though, I mean, the sweet spot is typically around 18 years or older. Now, if you are watching this and you're older than that, you're in your 30s or you're anywhere older than that, there is actually a huge demand for reps that are over 30 years old, because as you know, maturity and experience is going to sell a whole lot better. All right, question number 6, what is the difference between a setter and a closer? All right, so a setter's job is to qualify all the warm leads that come in and book them in for a call with the closer. Now the closer's job, I mean, it's kind of in the name, but the closer's job is to close the prospect on making a decision and help them make a decision that they already want to make. All they have to do is just collect payment, and then they just get paid commissions. So the setter gets paid 5% commissions and the closer gets paid 10% commissions. So if you close a $5,000 deal, closer gets $500 and the setter gets $250. Now, of course, the setter only gets paid if the closer actually closes the call. I typically recommend when you first get into high ticket sales that you start with setting so you can learn the business model, you can learn all the systems, and then you just slowly work your way up to a closer. All right, number 7, what does a typical day in the life look like? All right, so it's pretty similar whether you're a setter or a closer, but you're gonna be talking to people all day, typically working from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and it can be earlier, can be later. It kind of just depends what offer you're on and the lead flow. But like I said, the setter's job is going to be to qualify the leads and book them in with the closer. Now, the closer's job is very, very simple and it kind of is in the name, and your whole job is just to collect payment and help the person who already wants to buy the product just make the final decision. So after you close them and you get your commissions and you get the sale, you don't have to do anything else. There's no back-end fulfillment. You don't have to worry about if they see success or if they don't, or if they have any questions. That is all up to the influencer. All right, so question number 8 is, what are the best niches? So I would say trading is probably the #1 niche right now, just because everyone can do it, whether you're young, you're in your 30s, or you're really old. Everyone can trade. So the more people that can do it, then obviously the more possible lead flow. So more leads equals more money. However, some other good ones are going to be AI offers, marketing agencies, or lead generation agencies. But typically the niche matters less than the actual personal brand. If the offer owner has a bad personal brand, then they're not going to do that good. A strong personal brand with trust is always going to outperform a weak brand regardless of the niche. Okay, question number 9, how to land your first offer. So there's a few different ways that you can go about it. Me personally, when I first started, I bought a program and they showed me how to do outreach. They didn't have a placement system. So I ended up having to DM a bunch of influencers on Instagram, and I eventually did get on an offer. However, it does take a little bit longer going that route. Now you can typically find a mentorship that has some sort of placement system. So once you learn the skill, you just get placed on an offer. But if you're not trying to buy a program, you can learn a good amount for free. And when you're doing outreach, you typically just want to look for someone who has a really big following and they get a lot of views on their stuff. Someone who has kind of like a cult-like audience. And typically you want them to be doing anywhere from 100 to 200K per month so that you can make a good amount of money too. All right, those are pretty much the most common questions that I got asked. Now, high ticket sales is not saturated at all. If anything, right now, the demand is at an all-time high because more and more people are selling programs or selling mentorships. And it's also not like these other business models where it costs a lot of money to start, or you're gonna lose a bunch of money before you see any profits. You can go the free route, or if you want to get results a little bit faster, you can purchase a program. But if you're serious about getting into high ticket sales or you have any questions at all, feel free to DM me on Instagram at Raiden.O'Toole, and I'm more than happy to answer any of your guys' questions. If you guys want to see more videos like this, just make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.